guys, welcome back to my channel. Thank you guys so much for stopping by with me today, and let's just jump right into this tutorial. So what I'm doing here is just using a plastic bag to secure my wig head, and this is a 22-inch wig head. That's my head size. I think I'm like a 22 and a half. And then I'm going to take my Mr. Durag satin dome cap, and that's what I'm going to use to make my wig on, and I'm just measuring out the measurement as it is to my head. So from the nape of my head to my forehead where I want the wig to stop, it's about 14 inches. So I make sure to measure it and to use pins to hold the cap in place so that it stays perfectly at that measurement, okay? And then across from ear to ear, it's like 12 and a half, 13, and then the entire perimeter is about 22 to 22 and a half inches. So you want to make sure that you do all this measurement so that when you're done, your wig will fit perfectly. Now I'm gonna put the closure on, and this is a human hair closure that I've ordered like years ago from AliExpress, and I'm gonna move it a little bit, like a quarter of an inch forward in front of the cap, and just pin it in place. So I secure the hair, just wrap it around itself and pin it away, and then I move on to using pins to hold down this closure in place so that when we're sewing it as it should be. Like if you don't pin it down like this, then you might end up sewing it like in the wrong place. It might sew like really bubbled. So you want to make sure that you lay it down and hold it down with pins, and then go ahead and sew this down, okay? I'm just using some cotton thread and a curved sewing needle, and just sew this around until we get to the next end. It's very hard for me to explain how I'm sewing this, but I hope you guys could see like how I hold the thread and pull it through and make sure that that part is coming through like the little hole of it's so hard for me to explain this part, but I really hope you guys could see and understand what I'm doing, okay? So after sewing this closure down, we're gonna go ahead and get our hair, and today I will be using the Saga Popular 100% Human Hair Yaki, and this pack comes with like 4 bundles, should I call it, 2 12 inches and 2 14 inches, and I'm just gonna start with the 12 inches, and what I'm gonna do is just measure out the area where I want I'll show you guys in a second when I'm gonna apply the second track how I measure it, but I just measure it around the perimeter, and then just use this glue on the weft, and yeah, just glue it down. And for the glue, I'm using the Salon Pro 30-second glue that I picked up in the beauty supply store, and then I'm gonna spritz it with a little bit of holding spritz just so that the track will stick onto the cap instead of me having to hold it for like a longer period of time, or probably take a blow dryer so that it will hold down and not fall off. I just use a spritz because that's a lot easier and faster, okay? So yeah, I just glue it from one side to the other. So yeah, you guys will be only seeing one side because I'm recording all by myself and the camera is just in one place, and I'm the one just turning the head back and forth. So yeah, basically the same thing that's on this side is the exact same thing on the other side. So now this is how I measure the hair. I just take it from one side to the next, like in a U shape, measure it, and then cut it, apply the glue and the spritz, and then just glue it onto the wig cap, okay? And when I get to the front area right there, you want to bring the track out to the end, almost to the end of the wig cap, so that when you're done and you don't have like a lot of space left, especially at the edges, like you don't have a lot of wig cap space, right? So you want to take the track all the way out to the end, just like that, so that it looks more flawless. And if the wind blow up and things like that, it will, you know, look a little bit more camouflage. Okay, and I'm gluing this in this U shape because I want, when I'm done and I cut the wig and put it on, I want the hair to, some of the hair to fall to the front of my face. So that's why I'm curving it around like that, and when I get to the end I also curve it so that it will fall over and, like, you know, towards my face. Like I just said, Joe, you just said that. But yeah, you just want to press this in place. Apply spritz if you think it's not holding. The spritz literally doesn't harm it. It just helps it to hold. And if you wash it, you wash the spritz out, but the glue will still be there, okay? And I'm showing you what the other side look like, just so you guys see that it's the same thing on both sides. I'm just going to continue gluing this in that U shape until we get to the top. And I think like this is where part number 2 ends. I want to say this is where part number 2 ends. Yeah, so this is where the second 12-inch ends. So just glue it down and then just take the next pack and measure from that point to the next and just continue gluing, okay? Now is where I'm gonna start like gluing across instead of going in a U, because this will just help it to lay more flatter. So I'm literally just gonna measure from one side where it ends right there to the next and glue it down, okay? It's a really simple. I really like this method. I don't like gluing down my like more expensive human hair, so I really like the fact that this is a cheap pack here. And by the way guys, I paid like about $40 for the entire pack of this hair. I picked it up in my local beauty supply store, and this hair works amazing, okay? So I'm really glad that I'm able to glue this down and save on a lot of time. And I did wash this hair and the tracks are still intact. Still intact. I didn't have to go back and apply glue to any track. It's still holding on, okay? So yeah, gluing your hair is not that bad. It's just hard to wrap my mind around like gluing down some hair that I paid a couple hundreds for. But yeah, as we're closing in on the U, this is the final piece that I would be applying just to close it off. And yeah, then I'm gonna take my blow dryer on like a very low heat setting and just below the roots of this unit just to make sure that the glue is dry. And I did have like a very small piece of hair left, like about the size of the last piece that you guys see me installed just now. That's how much hair I have left. So this hair did make it like just like it barely made it, but you know, it worked out fine because I did glue the tracks pretty close, and you want to make sure you glue them pretty close so that you won't have any space showing in between, okay? And this hair looks really silky and smooth, and it is, y'all. This hair is really good, okay? Now I'm gonna take this wig off, and I'm gonna make sure to try it on just to make sure that it fits and things like that. And then I'm gonna cut away the extra cap from under the lace portion. So I'm just gonna take a scissors, and you want to cut not too close to the thread that you sew, like about half an inch away, right? So you don't want to cut any thread because that will loosen up the closure, and that's a really hard to fix. Like it never happened to me, and I don't want it to happen to me, okay? So now I'm gonna put this back onto the wig head, right? And I'm gonna pin it back in place. Like make sure that you're pinning it back in the same measurement because we're gonna cut it and things like that. So you want it, and it's not dry yet, so you want it to dry to the size that it's supposed to be. So if you don't pin it back in the correct size, then it's not gonna dry as big as you want it to, okay? And then just double check to make sure that you're still in good standing. as far as the measurement goes. And yeah, now what I'm gonna do is just start out the closure, right? So I'm gonna comb the closure down and make my side part. I want this to be a side part, so I'm just gonna do a deep side part on the closure and then spray it down with some water to get it to lay, and then I'll be tweezing this part out, okay? I like to always wet my lace like closures and frontals whenever I'm trying to section them or tweeze them away, because it just makes it so much easier. Like when you wet your hair to section it, it just makes it so much easier and help you to lay it in the direction that you want it to lay. So I'm gonna make sure that I make my part really nice and neat, and then I'm just gonna take a tweezer, and you want to use a good tweezer for this, something that you know that will work and won't rip your closure. I won't make you have to pull too hard to get the hair out, okay? Now I'm going to tweeze this part out just a little bit. I tend to like my parts a little teensy bit wider than the norm, I would say, maybe. So I'm going to tweeze this a little bit wide-ish. You don't have to tweeze it as wide as I did, but this is just personal preference right here. So yeah. This is it for the wig making portion of this video. Be sure to check out the link in the bio where I'll show you guys how I cut and style this. So until the next one, bye guys.